the Nuggets bench. We once thought that this is going to be a place of hope, that perhaps for the first time in the last several seasons, the Nuggets might have a bench that can carry them when the starters need help. Ryan, based on the first few games of the season, Russell Westbrook, Dario Saric are really the two key additions the Denver Nuggets made to this bench. How do you feel like they have been able to perform so far, both with the starters and then what's just been the entire bench unit?
Spectacularly poorly. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a little rough. It has been a rough go for both Russell Westbrook and Dario Saric. I clipped these numbers earlier. Russ has under a 30% true shooting, and he is still way higher than Dario, who's at 14% true shooting through 3 games. Those guys can't score. And I think that Russ bounced back a little bit in the third game against Toronto, but it's still a major concern that the 2 players that the Nuggets decided to add that are supposed to be focal points for what they're doing, veterans that are supposed to kind of have their like the steadiness for the Nuggets off the bench, that has been anything but the case. I think Julian Strawther's been pretty good. I think Peyton Watson's still coming back, but like Russell Westbrook should be the guy who's sort of captaining that, and Dario I figured would be able to be the linchpin to things, but it just has not worked out the way that we hoped.
Yeah, I really am trying not to lean too heavy on it, but it's so glaring to me, Ryan, and especially given where the team is, they just need their 6th highest paid player in Dario Saric to perform like it. Russell Westbrook's a backup point guard for a team that's trying to contend for a championship. They just have to be better, and I think I am just, Russ I can get with. Russ has these moments, Ryan, where he looks really good. He'll get really good defensive efforts. He'll get a block on a trail. He'll get a steal here and there. But then he'll have these possessions where it's like he gets in one-on-one post situations when he's not like an efficient post scorer, not efficient mid-range shooter. And I'm okay with open threes. Like, you have to shoot those. So I'm not even like concerned with that. But some of his decision-making, Russ will run into the paint, Ryan, and he'll like not have a plan. And then he'll just get bogged up and it's a turnover. But at least I can say Russ is making slash plays. He's working in transition. He's going to try to get to the rim. He's going to try to create for other people. But Dario, I said in the summer, I didn't feel like he was the best fit for this team. And I feel like this has just been confirmation of that. Ryan, he can't score. He's not a good post scorer. He's a passer, but like even like his passing hasn't stood out. He got the ball stolen multiple times. There was a 4-play stretch basically, Ryan, where he had 2 missed layups and 2 turnovers against the Raptors. And I'm just like, and then on the defensive end, he doesn't offer anything. So it's disappointing because the starters are already, Malone's already having to make adjustments of putting Aaron Gordon in as a backup 5 in game 3. So to me, I don't know. I feel like the next step in this operation is going to be Zeke Naji. I think he has to get some minutes and just see if it works. Because right now, I at least can buy into the idea of Russell Westbrook, but I think I might be all the way out on Dario Saric.
It's fascinating. I'm not quite all the way out on Dario. I think that if you commit to a player in the offseason, if you spend the money that they did in order to get him, then it's important to at least see it through for a few more games. Mm-hmm. But you have to continue to try to put him in advantageous positions to succeed. Do what you can to keep him involved. Hasn't been a lot of him operating at the nail, or not at the nail, but at the top of the key as a focal point, as a fulcrum of the offense. It's been a lot of Russ driving. It's been a lot of Peyton Watson slashing. It's been maybe some Michael Porter plays every now and then. Probably not enough Julian Strawther, which that was something that they talked about in the preseason, wanting to get those Julian Strawther, Dario Saric pick and rolls and DHOs. Yeah. That hasn't happened that much. So I still think there are things that they can do. But the Russ Dario fit specifically is bad. It's just bad. And I think that the biggest issue with it, Dario doesn't know what Russ is going to do, because sometimes Russ doesn't necessarily know what Russ is going to do when he's driving into the lane or trying to create something out of nothing. And Dario, to me, feels like a player that needs to understand things before he actually can be good. And I think he's behind the 8 ball on that. I don't think that he's been great reacting to what the Nuggets have been doing on either end of the floor, and it's put him at a major disadvantage.
Let me ask you this, because that sounds like when you're limited offensively, really just limited athletically. You kind of have to just be able to anticipate what's happening on the court. So that way you don't have to react. Because Dario has no burst. When Dario misses a shot or misses the ball, it's like by a wide margin to where he's out of the play entirely, and it takes him a while to recover. And I think to your point, he needs to be able to anticipate at the NBA level, because otherwise he's so far behind athletically. But my thing is, and Ryan, what didn't make sense at the time is, you know this, the Nuggets have been a heavy switch unit with their bench personnel the last 2 seasons. That's how they operate. That's what Zeke Nagy does. Jeff Green did that. Flacco, when he was healthy 2 years ago, did that. That's been their identity. And they have basically, the first few games, tried to like operate this switch, but kind of a show and recover for Dario. And then they've tried to do this like drop for Dario, and he's not good at any of it. And then if he gets isolated by a guard or by a wing, they're just literally just going at him. Ivica Zubac is going straight to him and putting buckets over the top. Chris Dunn scoring on him because he's too quick. And then on the other end, he's not like a strong enough three-point shooter to where, okay, the Russ is getting this crazy gravity, and all of a sudden here comes Dario, 44% from three, and he's connecting consistently. So how many more games do you think it's going to take if Dario doesn't make improvements, and really Russ too, to be able to make some personnel changes for the second unit?
Yeah, I think Denver should be waiting through 10 games, personally. They should be trying. Now, there are some things that they can do to increase the rotation, maybe try to change up some of the combinations a little bit. You saw the Aaron Gordon lineup at center. Yeah. I actually personally like the idea, and I heard this on another show, Pickaxe and Roll, today. What about bringing in Zeke Nagy for Aaron Gordon and playing him next to Nikola Jokic, and then having Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter come back in for that second unit and just kind of make that a consistent part of the rotation? That would make Denver better. It doesn't necessarily mean that Aaron has to play heavier minutes, but I think that there are some things that they could do. If the fit is bad between Russ and Dario, you got to find a way to get creative with it. But that would kind of cut Dario out of the rotation, what I just talked about. So I'm curious to see how they handle it, how they decide to go about it. I'm not going to overreact too much. Just to 3 games here, because it's his first 3 games in a Nuggets uniform, and he has been a good basketball player in the previous stops that he's had. So
he was cut out of the rotation with the Warriors last year.
He was, and I don't know if that was necessarily his fault as much as it was the personnel that they had. They were very specific, very specific that they had to play around what Golden State had. So now that could reflect negatively on Dario, and you got to figure it out. But between Russ, Peyton's been bad so far this year. That will improve, but Peyton's been bad. There's just a lot of questions with this bench unit that are completely fair to ask.
Yeah. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Do you think Russ and Dario have been a good fit? What do you think the Nuggets can do to optimize their skills and their talents with the rest of the team? Or do the Denver Nuggets need to make seismic improvements to their bench unit? That's Ryan. I'm Swipa. Mile High Sports. See you soon.